Hi, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us. In this series, psychotherapist Jennifer H. Carey interviews and helps applicants illuminate a story that is binding them. Applicants can choose to write in a letter or be a participant on the podcast and be interviewed. Both anonymous and both give you the opportunity to voice a limiting story and watch it begin to dissolve. We can all heal, learn, and grow from listening to how the beliefs and stories we create can consciously and subconsciously run our lives, binding us and holding us back. This season, Jen collaborates with singer-songwriter Shannon Ward, who is also co-founder of Fiercely Peaceful and Love Inside Out Now. Shannon is on a mission to help people remember who they are, and she has carried that mission with her as an artist, playwright, healer, and co-facilitator of retreats. She's worked on the WOW stage with Jen and with Mick and Tess Pulver from Breakthrough Performance. At the end of each podcast, Shannon and Jen will prescribe a song for the participant to help them transform beyond the limiting story they are telling themselves. Together, let's listen and shine light so we can break through and step forward into our unlimited potential. The voices and stories of these podcasts are true, but names and other identifying information are removed to protect the privacy and confidentiality of the participants.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Season 2, Episode 4 of Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us. And I am here with the lovely Shannon Ward, singer and songwriter and co-founder of Fiercely Peaceful Productions and Love Inside Out. And now, Love Inside Out Now. Yep, she's got the shirt on.
Be a lion. Love inside out now, live inside out.
There you go. There you go. Representing. So Season 2, Episode 4. Another episode where you can see us, if you so choose, on YouTube. If you're listening on Anchor or Spotify, wonderful. Thanks for being here. We have a special episode today. It's a little bit different. We're not talking about a letter that was sent in. We're not interviewing an anonymous candidate that, in both cases, sharing a story that's binding them. We are here today to talk about why illuminate. Why illuminate a story that's binding us? You figure we have this podcast that we offer for people to share a story that's binding them. We have the letters to Jen where people write in to Misty and I, because Misty's part of it, respond back to the letter.
Oh, she is.
She is. And then we just started on Sundays and Illuminating the Sunday Stories, aka Sunday Scaries. So all of these services to help feed the passion about illuminating the stories that bind us. We also have the musical component, which I can't wait to talk more with Shannon about this. Why singing, songwriting, using our voice and song to transform through the stories that are binding us. Why that's so beneficial. So that is what today is going to be about. Why illuminate? Maybe we'll even touch upon why people don't illuminate. But I really hope that by the end of this podcast, you will feel inspired to voice a story that's binding you, whether you choose to use one of the things that I just said that we offer for you to do that, or you talk to a trusted friend, or you talk to a trusted expert in your life, therapist, healer, and you voice a story that's in your head that's binding you. All right. So Shannon, you know, I know, when a story is stuck in our head, it can just ruminate, bounce back, grow. And then when we put it outside of us, I always like to have like the visual of like a table, put it out on a table, like voice it out of our mouths, put it on a table outside of us, the power that we have versus when it's stuck inside.
Absolutely. Well, one of the things, first of all, when it's in here, it's like a hamster on a wheel, right? And we keep running the same. It's like going the same way to work every day. It might be reliable and familiar, but is that the only way to get to work? It might be the shortest, but is it the most scenic? So we stop experiencing choice. We reaffirm the story. It tends to get bigger. And so there's something about pulling it outside of us that we see the story, and it's like a beach ball. There are many colors of a beach ball. If you're only looking at the beach ball from this way, it looks red. From this way, it looks yellow. But when you expand, you're like, oh, the beach ball is all the colors of the rainbow. And it just gives us more perspective to just go, wow, I just pulled this out and pulled it away from me. And it gives me an opportunity to see another side, perhaps something I hadn't experienced before.
Great metaphor. So we know this. We know how much, like, not even getting into like the music, voice, song aspect of it. We know just being able to get the story out, like you said, gives you a different perspective, gives you a broader perspective. You can see other sides. I always feel like it's liberating. Like people often say like, oh my God, I feel so much better. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I hear that on a daily basis as a therapist. Like, I feel so much better having said that to you. Oh my God, I feel so much better saying it. So why don't people do it?
Ooh.
Yes.
Shame.
Yeah.
Usually it's shame, and it's the fear of judgment, because often the stories are living out of this place of judgment, and guilt, whether it's real or misplaced, and then it becomes, distorted with our limited perspective. So we bring it out, and it's just like, it feels like, for me personally, it feels like I'm ripping a layer off and like, oh, I just, what's going to happen if I do this? And I'm waiting for the hammer to drop, or for somebody to go, really? Bam, 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 bam. Whatever the perspective is, or the fear of judgment that I'm harboring it myself, I'm afraid that's going to come back 1,000-fold if I dare let it out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. Just the vulnerability, right? Good old Brene Brown, everything she covers, the shame and the vulnerability. If I let this out and someone judges it, or anything like that happening, just feels way too scary, and that it might rock your world. So I know that the space that we try to provide here is one of non-judgment, compassion, and safety. And those are incredibly important for one to feel like, okay, it's okay if I share this. And I think if people can just take the risk, it's one of those things, unfortunately, that it can only be proven when you do it, right? It can only be, you and I we're going to spend this podcast talking about all the benefits and give anecdotes and, talk about the transformation, but it's one of those things, like, just try it, just try it, and you'll see. It'll prove to you and all your parts that may be afraid of doing this, that this works. And
that you're not alone, which, I think sometimes people are afraid of these things being proven true, these stories. But I think also we can be afraid, well, what if it's not true? I've spent a lot of time believing this, but what if it's not true? And then who am I? because I really invested so much time into this story that seemingly keeps me safe, but in pain, familiar pain all at the same time.
Yes. And you know what's so interesting about that, Shannon, is it's not only what if it's not true, it's the what if it's true. So a big thing about this, right, is usually the stories aren't true, you know, and that's the work of Byron Katie that I often bring up, you know, her whole, is that true? Like when you have a thought, like, is that true? Can you believe without a shadow of a doubt that that's true? And usually it's like, no, it's not. But there are people who are like, not only afraid of what you said, like, you know, someone saying it's not true. If they believe that, it kind of shatters their reality. But then it's also the like, oh, what if it is? What if it's true that I'm not enough? That's pretty scary. So it gets you kind of coming and going, doesn't it?
Yes.
It gets you kind of coming and going. You know, I don't think I put this in these words when I was just describing it, but I often say this, and I've written it in the book that I'm writing, Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us. It's just how when we shine light on a story, suddenly the story isn't driving the bus of our life. Like all of a sudden we've put ourselves into the driver's seat, right? And the story is maybe in the passenger seat or in the back seat. But as long as we just keep the story hidden, it can be driving, you know, our lives. And so just that empowerment part of it. I always say awareness is 50% of the solution. So if we can bring it to light in one of these ways, it gives you that power. I also believe it improves your relationships, because I think you can be operating from these stories in all of your relationships.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Of course.
Yeah. And you think the other person is too, and they're not. They have their own stories about themselves, and they're filtering or translating everything through those stories. So I just can't say all the ways that I feel like this work is important. Maybe I'm biased.
Absolutely.
I don't know.
Well, if you are, then we suffer or, you know, thrive in the same one. Because if we come from the premise that we're always doing our best, but if this story is the best that we think we are, you know, and we're not illuminating it, then God bless us, or, you know, whatever it is. It's like we are doing our best, but we can't help but be at the effect of it. Like you said, in all our relationships, our communications, because there's like this mask, as it were, this filter that we're speaking from. Yeah. And so the more that we can lift that mask and I really am a firm believer in doing it as playfully and gently, with as much as compassion, and almost like hold this story as like a little kid, whatever age it was or whatever, or that if we can hold it, like you said, outside of us and give ourselves some perspective, you know, to care for it lovingly and go, hey, you're not alone. I'm going to hold your hand and we'll do this together, which automatically creates space and partnership with yourself in this way, with this precious story. To not hate on it or judge it, but give it space and permission.
Give it space and permission. And you were saying earlier how people aren't alone with being afraid of sharing their story. Like that's super common, probably more common than people sharing their stories. It's also the same that you're not alone with the story. You know, and that's not to minimize its beautiful uniqueness in you, because that's there. But, you know, you think about the I am not enough. That's like one of the most common stories, right? Again, Brene Brown, shout out. The other story that I'm writing about, and the courageous and brave participant in season 1, episode number 5, is the I am bad and deserve to be punished story.
Ooh,
I know.
Right? I relate to it so much. I have in the past that. Yes. And still there are ways that I come up against that. And it's like.
Layers, right?
Layers.
Layers.
The big onion. Oh, yeah.
That's it. But you peel it away and it gets lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter as you peel away the layers. But it's interesting how we'll bump up against it again. But it loses its charge. Relationships improve, relationship with yourself, relationship with others. You just have to start.
And you're absolutely right. And now it can be like, oh, sweet, precious one, I see you. I hear you. And that's okay. We're gonna choose this time. But the more that we are with it and create, that opportunity to transform layer after layer, however it shows up, it becomes a much more loving, compassionate experience.
Exactly. Anxiety decreases, right? Yeah. Symptoms that are, low self-worth, low self-esteem decreases.
Yep.
So important.
Yep.
Now let's kind of move. I'm like, why can't I move to the
tangent? Shift directions, pivot.
Oh gosh, words. Let's move to music.
Yay.
All right. You love writing songs. You've been a part of the breakthrough performances. You helped me and we provided the space for the WOW stage, right? Which is all about using song to break through these stories, using song, using voice, using singing. Tell me what you feel so passionately about that.
In so many ways, to give voice and sound and movement to these things with permission, not as a performer, that's fine. But that's not what this is. This is just an authentically precious, easy way creatively to express ourselves. One of the ways that I do that a lot is take songs that I love now as well and change the words to fit and express what's in me. Sometimes it might be there and inherently in the song, but I am notorious or infamous for changing words and go and sing what you know, but here's what's coming out of me.
Yeah.
And it gives a melody and a life and a permission. And I also feel in relationship because I'm in relationship with the other people who wrote the song. Mm-hmm. Seal, one of my favorites, he used to say, I never write the lyrics to my song on my albums because he goes, what I sing and am expressing from myself may not be anything like what they're hearing. And they're singing totally different lyrics. But I guarantee you, whatever they're singing is what's important for them to express.
Yeah.
So music is just this flowering way, and it automatically connects us to others because we can see others bobbing their head, dancing. It's just very permissive.
Very permissive, and I love that you brought in connection. That you brought in connection, right? That's one of the antidotes to shame is connection. And I agree. And we've said this before, I'm a lyric girl. I know that the sound is so important and the movement is so important. And that is so true. Like when you can feel it like vibrating in your cells, like, you're breaking through some stuff, you're breaking through some stuff when like, you're just like moving to that beat and to that melody. I find that the lyrics and the words sometimes, whether you created or you use the artist in what they chose, it validates, which is like the other thing, right? What is Brene Brown says, shame disappears when met with empathy. It disappears, right? So there's something about when someone is like saying back what you're feeling, in like a song and then
validating.
Right? Yes. So it validates you, but then you own it. Then you own it and you sing it, and you're now breaking. You're breaking the original story, or like you and I always say, do we prescribe a song that sits in the story that they're in, or do we move them into like their new story, right? And the importance of both.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. I completely agree. And you made so many awesome points there. But that connection and validation, it's like when I was watching the Grammys and there was a 50-year celebration of hip hop and what it has meant in this powerful culture. And it was epic. Everybody in that room was lifted up by the Grammys. Lizzo's performance, she was just like, I'm here to empower people. I want to sing the words that I want to hear. And immediately before she even sang, I'm just like, oh, So no matter who it is, what it is. And Bonnie Raitt, this woman who is so much further along in her career, wrote this song that just like, it's like watching these layers, age disappears, it becomes interfaith. Like there is just connection and validation when we give ourselves permission to feel it all and have it all, which is actually something, we'll come back to later, but there is permission to feel it and own it in a way that feels acceptable and
uses
outing it.
Yeah. Uses the power of music that, like you're saying, has been used socially, culturally to heal and empower throughout the ages. Throughout the ages, we know how music was used to help people in slavery. We know how, it doesn't matter what the story is, music was used to heal, and it's like in us. And that kind of takes me a little bit further, and then I'll rein us back in. I'll rein us back in, Shannon. I'm telling you and all the listeners, I'm going to rein us back in, but let me just go a step ahead. And that's the passion around the WOW stage. That's the passion around, Mick and Tess and their breakthrough performance that we were so inspired by. And that everyone can have access to it.
Yeah.
Everyone. Okay, so you're not classically trained. You didn't go to, school every day of your life for music. You can still sing. You can still use music.
Not what it's about. Yep.
That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It's just, I just want everybody to have the opportunity to share a story that's finding them. And I want everyone the opportunity to use music, expressive, creative arts to just break through it and live their big dream and access joy and access freedom, and live their best life. This is what I want, Shannon.
Yeah. Just that authentic expression. And that's what people get so scared, but it really is. It's like, it's not about performing. It's about permission to, let your freak flag fly, to just let it come out with joy and pain or the anger, whatever it is, to give that permission to like, even if you're singing happy birthday to me, but you're like, who cares? It's all available. And illuminating those stories and letting them come.
That's right.
In that way, it's delicious.
It is.
And juicy.
It is. It is. And I know we could go on the whole like emotional journey of it, right? Music brings up so much emotion and can access so much emotion from sadness and grief to empowerment to joy to fun, all of it. And it's all okay. It's all okay, which probably, you're right, is a great segue as before we wrap this up, of course, Shannon and I want to prescribe some songs. So we're about to do that. We're going to prescribe some songs to help us with this process of illuminating the stories that bind us. I think before, so just hang on a little bit. I do want to just say, please, please, please consider writing a letter to Jen. In the description, there's the link that you fill out a form to write the letter, anonymous. I don't even see your email. That's full on anonymous. There's also the desire to be a participant on this podcast. There's a form in the description for that. For those of you who are like, you know what? I kind of want to like experience Jen and Shannon, and you do not have to be seen. You know, you can remain anonymous in this process if you wish to like in season 1. You know, if you do not want your name and face to be shared, Shannon and I will just show ourselves, but we'll use your story and use your voice to have that process. And I know when Shannon and I were first talking about this season, she's like, but there might be people who are okay with being seen. And yeah, please, if you want to be the third picture on here, you can. I just definitely want to open it up for the people that are like, yeah, I don't think I want to share that story and have it associated with whatever. So it's all available to you. Please consider, you know, taking advantage of this opportunity. Shannon and I want to play, as Shannon would say. We want to play with you. We want to provide the safe space. Yeah. And thankfully, a lot of the participants, that's the feedback they've said, is that it is a gentle space. So let's keep that going. And on that note, so I have a song. Shannon, do you have 1 or 2 songs that you want to share about this?
I have like 5, but yes, it's okay. Yes. Oh, you want me to go first? Okay.
Either way.
I have 2. Katie Turnstall, Feel It All. It's mostly about the chorus, but it's also, you know, it's just let yourself feel it all, you know, all of the tenderness and the fierceness and everything in between. And the other one I was just exposed to the other day, Jason Mraz, and it's called Have It All. Have It All. Ooh. It is so stellar. Stellar.
I'm going to look up the lyrics to that. Have It All lyrics, Jason Mraz. I love him. Oh my gosh. Life is Beautiful. Yeah. That was like a song that la 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 la. That was a very healing song.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
May you have auspiciousness and causes of success. May you have the confidence to always do your best. May it take no effort in your being generous, sharing what you can, nothing more, nothing less. May you know the meaning of the word happiness. May you always lead from the beating in your chest. May you be treated like an esteemed guest. May you get to rest. May you catch your breath. Wow. God, he's always so rich, yet simple and fun. He is like, he just does it all.
Yeah.
I want you to have it all. I want you to have it all. Yeah. And we want people to have it all, right?
Absolutely.
We want people to have it all.
Absolutely.
That's what we want. Yeah, this makes me think about like the poetry. And I know that that's what you get at in terms of people rewriting the lyrics, like giving them that opportunity to have that poetic expression, finding their own words and rhythm and rhyme. Because he's got that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Here's to the good times we're going to have. You don't need money. You've got a free pass. That is true. So Jason Mraz wrote it in a song. This is all free. The letters and the podcast right now is free. So take advantage. Well, that's the key.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for those, Shannon. So the song that immediately came to me is a song that a lot of you probably know. Brave by Sarah Bareilles.
Yes.
I said it right.
Yeah.
I said it right. I've got some phonetic things you guys probably hear. But say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave, right? So you can be amazing. You can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast or be the backlash of somebody's lack of love, or you can start speaking up. Nothing's going to hurt you the way that words do, and they settle beneath your skin. Kept on the inside and no sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder what would happen if you say what you want to say and let the words fall out. And just, it is bravery. Because like we said, it's that vulnerability.
Sure.
It's that, working through the shame, working through the vulnerability. So
it is. Yeah. Yep. Beautiful. I think that's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
All right.
You got to be brave if you want to have it all.
That's right. You know? Yeah. And you have to be brave to feel it all. People don't want to feel. We know this. People don't want to feel.
Yep.
Why we numb those feelings. So hopefully this will inspire you, even if you don't decide to use these services that we are offering and these experiences we're offering. Hope you find some way to share your story in a safe, trusted, compassionate, empathetic, validating way.
Yes. Oh, Jen, you're amazing. As always.
Thank you,
I love
Shannon.
you so much. Thank you for what you do and what you provide. You are a gift.
Thank you. Thank you, Shannon. And thank you for being a part of it. And thank you for all of your work with helping people remember who they are and helping people, you did it with me. I think I've shared this before. I'll just share it again. We used, a favorite childhood song, which for me was from Les Miserables, Castle on a Cloud. And Shannon asked me, use your lyrics, write your lyrics. And as soon as I had permission from you to do that, it just all came out in 20 minutes. And that song was very moving. So thank you for your work and just the coolness that you do around the heart song for the inner child. I love that. So.
Yay.
Yes. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. And we hope to hear from you soon. Yes. Bye. Thanks again, Shannon.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
If you'd like to be a participant on Illuminating the Stories That Bind Us, please fill out the form on jenniferhcarey.com. Jennifer would like to thank every single person that makes this possible, including all of the listeners. Because of you listening and sharing these stories, we may illuminate them and unbind the participants stuck in them. And to the participants, your courage and bravery makes this possible. Thank you. A million thank yous to Cassie Brooks Bowling and her team in making this mission come alive and keep it breathing. You can follow Jen at Jennifer H. Carey on Instagram and on Facebook at Jennifer H. Carey Counseling.